broken.
Yes, it is broken.
It's very broken.
Washington is broken.
Disjointed.
Divisive. Corrupt.
Destructive.
Dysfunctional.
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 I don't think they're looking after the people anymore. It's the Republicans and Democrats for themselves, and they're just not taking care of business anymore.
Both parties are against everything that the other party stands for, just because they're the other party.
It doesn't matter whether one has a good idea or not. The other one is going to say no.
And everybody is nitpicking over the little things and ignoring the larger picture.
They basically become like children bickering.
Stop bickering.
Stop bickering.
Stop, cut the crap.
You don't agree with someone else's point of view, big deal. Like, just get over it.
It seemed to me that at some point they could come to a consensus of what actually is best for the nation, and that they would agree on that and move forward.
Partisanship 20, 30 years ago wasn't like this. I mean, when Medicare passed, when Medicaid passed, I mean, you look at the votes in the Senate, it wasn't along party lines like it is now.
When I was a kid, the left and the right, they seemed like they could always come together and do what was best for the country, but I'm not seeing that no more.
Politicians in Washington are more concerned about the next election cycle than actually using the power that they've been given for the time that they've been given it in the best interest of the country.
It's not one party more than the other.
It's not just Democratic or Republican, it's both.
It's definitely both parties.
We've got a broken two-party system. It doesn't work right. I mean, everyone's, has their own best self-interest, and they should be working for the good of everybody. I mean, for crying out loud, we're all Americans, It's ridiculous.
Our government's fighting, and we're just trying to survive.
Some kind of change other than what's going on right now needs to occur because, we're only driving our own selves into the ground.
The environment is, for me, that's the most important issue.
Probably immigration.
I worry about education.
Number one on my list right now is the job crisis.
Right now I'm looking for a job.
People are losing their jobs right and left. I mean, my husband's been unemployed for the last 8 months.
I have 3 children, and quite honestly, I'm worried about them and their future.
I have 5 children, I have 15 grandchildren, and all I see in their future is debt and more debt.
I guess not knowing what kind of world it's going to be by the time she's 18, 30, 40 worries me.
He's 4 years old. By the time we get to 18 years old, what's it going to cost to send him to college?
Is he going to have health care? Is he going to have a chance to really flourish as a human being?
It just seems like the debt is the main problem, and that, our kids are going to be the ones to deal with it.
We are the people, and this is our land. When it's in trouble, well, it's in our hands. We are the people, let's make more history. This land belongs to you and me.
I think it's time for a tribal council, if you will, where all the different parties have to get together, sit in a room, and not leave until they have consensus on solution of a problem.
I mean, they all need to get along. We're all in this together.
A good society and a good government meets in the middle.
That's how you train your children to compromise. There's no right or wrong. There has to be a middle ground.
If it was a perfect world, you would have got both parties to have individuals from their parties form that kind of centrist group that could do this. But they seem to have not tried hard enough to get that done.
I think we need a third party because the Democrats and the Republicans don't care.
Maybe it's time for a rational, middle-of-the-road party.
The middle might be open for a movement, a new movement.
There's no place in the Constitution that says you've got to be a Republican or a Democrat to get elected to office.
I think a third party is necessary at this time in history.
If you took the best of the right, best of the left, and put them together, I think you got a great thing going on.
If it combines the best ideas, why wouldn't anybody be on board for that?
I would join a party that was somewhere in the middle.
I hope the third party would not be the Tea Party, myself, and yet I think that they've maybe done a good thing to stir things up and show how many people are unhappy.
If we're to have a third party, an alternative party, and it's going to have any sort of
cloud. It needs to harness our technology and our internet.
In terms of conventions and everything, that it should be something that's open as possible.
In terms of having that convention online, again, it's a great idea.
It's much better than what we have today with a few people who go to the caucuses and get chosen to go to the national convention. It would be much better to have online access, and that would make the process much more democratic.
I use the internet to buy shoes. I use the internet to do banking. It's not too difficult to devise a system where I can see exactly where my vote goes in. It has a unique serial number on it, and I can check on it to make sure that my vote actually did get counted.
It would be easier to vote. I think more people's voices would be heard.
We can do it. Let's stop complaining and just do it. That'd be awesome.
If people get together and they work together, anything can happen. We've proven that over time. We've proven it.
We could change the whole thing if people were just willing to take a little time and get a little guts and stand up.
I mean, we faced problems for the last 200 years, and we find a way to solve them and we move on.
We don't just take a back seat and let Washington decide and do what they're going to do.
I mean, people used to look at America. What an honor and a privilege to live in America. And we need a lot of serious repair work done in our country.
You can't put a Band-Aid on something that's broken. You have to fix it.
Seattle, Houston, Orlando, Boston, St. Louis, Denver, Baltimore, and Cleveland, the LA beaches, Twin Cities, Raleigh. This land was made for you and me. We are the people.